Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Let us begin going over the study guide for the Chapter 1 test in Advanced Algebra. Section 1.1, Applying Properties of Real Numbers. So we're going to match the properties with the statements that illustrate them. So A says the associative property. And remember, the associative property has to deal with the way you group the numbers together using parentheses. So that would have to be the first one. So number 1 goes with the associative property. B, the distributive property. Okay, distribute a number or variable through the parentheses. So looking at the 4 choices up there, that would have to be the third one. 5 times x is 5x, 5 times 3 is 15. The commutative property, that's where we can switch the numbers around and we still get the same answer. So that would have to be number 4. And then the identity property, that's where we can multiply 2 things together and get the same number back. In this case, that would be number 2. Next part, match the properties with the statements that illustrate them. So in this one, we've got the associative property, and again, the associative property has to deal with the grouping symbols, so that would be number 4. The commutative property, that's where we can switch the numbers around, that would be number 3. The distributive property, that would have to be the first one. And the inverse property, now I noticed that this is not correct. So it should be 8 times 1/8 is 1, not 8. So the inverse property is where you multiply by a number and you get like the identity back. All right. Next part, put the real numbers in order from greatest to least. What I would do is I would change each of these to a decimal so I can easily identify where they belong in order from greatest to least. So if I do that, I would notice that the square root of 7 is the largest. Then the next one would be the 2.1. Okay, the next number going from largest to smallest would then be the pi divided by 2. Then the next one would be -2. Then we have -11/3. And the smallest would be -5.3. All right, graph the following set of real numbers on a number line. So the first thing we should do is put numbers on our number line. Now I'm going to mark each of those spots as close to where it belongs as I can. I'm going to start with the largest number, and again, if you need to, change the following to decimals so that you can easily compare or see where they go. So starting on the left side with the smallest number, that would be the -4.2, which I'm going to say is right about there. The next one would be the -3 1/3. Okay, I'm going to mark that right about there. The next one would be the 0. The next one would be the square root of 2. Now the square root of 2 is a little bit more than 1, so I'm going to say it's right about there. The next one is then pi, 3.14, so I'm going to say that that's like right there, pi. And 10/3 or 10/3 is really close to 3 also, but it's a little bit bigger than pi, so I'm going to mark that right about there. All right, there's page 1. Let's go to page 2. Convert 60 miles per hour to feet per second. So we need to know a few things. We need to remember that, well, in 1 hour, there are 3,600 seconds. We also need to know that in 1 mile, there are 5,280 feet. All right, here we go. So we're going to take 60 miles and put that over 1 hour, 60 miles per hour. Okay, now you need to decide what do you want to get rid of next. I think I will get rid of the hour. So what do I know? I know that 1 hour is 3,600 seconds. And that will allow me to eliminate the hour. Okay, what else do I know? All right, well, I need to eliminate the miles. So I'm going to put the 1 mile on the bottom, and then the 5,280 feet on top. That will allow me to eliminate the word mile. So I'm left with feet per second. So now I'm going to take 60 times 5,280. All right, so let's see, 60 times 5,280. And it looks like 316,800. Oops. Divided by, it looks like 3,600. And that is going to give me 88 feet per second. All right, next one. Convert 400 miles per day to miles per hour. All right, 400 miles per day to miles per hour. Well, what do I know about hours, days and years? Well, we know that there are 365 days in 1 year. All right, so now we can go 400 miles in 1 day. So I want to get rid of the days, so I'm going to put 365 days up here, and that would be 1 year. So technically all you need to do is multiply the 400. Oops, I did that wrong. Hold on. Back that up. We're eliminating the days. Eliminate the days. So 400 times 365, that is going to give us 146,000 miles per year. All right, number 7, convert 60 cents per cycle to dollars per cycle. Well, what we need to know there is we need to know that $1 equals 100 cents. All right, so I'm going to set this up. I'm going to go with 60 cents over 1 cycle. And I want to get rid of the cents, so I'm going to put 100 cents down here. And I'm going to put the $1 up here. So the cents will cancel out, and we're left with 60, or 0.60, or I'll do this, 60 over 100, and then that changes to 0.6 or 0.60 dollars per cycle. Turns out to be 60 cents per cycle, or $0.60. All right, number 8. So what are we going to need to know for this one? We want to convert 50 centimeters per hour to meters per minute. So we need to know that 1 hour is 60 minutes. And we need to remember that 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. All right, so we've got 50 centimeters per hour, so 1 hour, Let's get rid of the centimeters. So that means I'm going to put the 100 centimeters down on the bottom. And I'm going to put 1 meter on top. Now the centimeters will cancel out. Okay, I also need to get rid of the hours. So I am going to put the 1 hour on top and the 60 minutes on the bottom. Now the hours will cancel out, the hour will cancel out, and we're left with meters per minute. So if we take the top and multiply, we get 50. The bottom, multiply, that's 6,000. Type that in the calculator, and we get 0.0083 meters per minute. Voila. All right, that's the end of section 1.1. Watch the next video for section 1.2.